straight. People
Right.
with straight hair want it curly.
No.
Oh,
No,
wow.
no.
Oh, my heavens.
But he,
And I did it for, we were going to a thing on
He,
Sunday, so I was doing it
the way he
Sunday
was
morning.
explaining it,
And
I couldn't,
we're up in Cleveland and it's
You know,
snowing. I'm like, oh my God,
"Hey,
get me an
really
umbrella.
cool, you know?"
Because it's just gonna curl all right back
Go
up.
right back. Oh, my. Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Rita, and I said, no. I said, you're still paying.
I don't know
for
if
the
you'd
service,
wanna
but
end
you're
it.
paying for Rita. And I said, and then I started
I don't
explaining
know what to
to him
tell you.
about Rita, how they can do so much more to collect than we can.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
they can go after people.
Now, does it last for a
We
few
don't have
days
that
for you?
availability, you know, they, 'cause
Uh-huh.
they can actually cross-check with your federal.
Okay.
Yeah, so in other words, they cross-check your federal and, you know, it's different, then they can go after you, you know. so-
Uh-huh.
Or we
Yeah.
never do.
You gotta wait till, you know what, might be too
Mine
early.
too.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
mine too.
Yeah, that's it, wait, might be too early yet,
Right.
Let me check the other
a couple
one.
minutes before.
So it should be on, because this is running
Okay,
and
all
that's
right,
running.
let me take a look.
Yeah, it's such a mess here now that I have no idea. So I'm just gonna quit. This is the stack you brought? Well, thank you so much. Now, another stack.
A lot of
Should see the stacks I
Yeah,
have.
and that's why I hated to ask you.
In the garage I have
God.
whole boxes. Yeah, and I just file, you know, there's so. But you can
We have a talent contest tonight. Who would like to be first?
hey,
I say the residents should be first.
could you
For their
sing?
dead, Harry Kay's coming. Are you singing tonight or dancing?
No.
Yeah, we'll have to hum with you.
Sir,
Okay, we don't have any background music.
Sir, could you sing solo? Solo?
No, I can't keep a beat.
Can you sing Far,
Okay.
Far Away?
That's the one they
The song I sing in karaoke you don't want to
In
hear.
the shower or a car, nothing. Oh, okay, that's,
Oh my God,
and
I
even
have
that's
music
off
ADD
key in our
all day
family.
long. I was like, as soon as the song comes out.
I'd like to complain to the council president right now. Where is he? Okay.
next one.
He's just-
That mayor's a wonderful man, so I don't have to
I know,
complain to him.
I
I forgot we're live, and it's all on there, son.
Oh, we're live already?
Okay.
Okay, so they get a
We're
little,
almost ready.
a
What's
little
going on, Mr. Whedon?
happiness.
John's, unfortunately, he is not gonna be here tonight. So, I think he wrote us a little thing that should have been in your mailbox. So hopefully he'll be feeling better. So, and then Brian is not here tonight. I think we've kind of all knew about that. He's had
11
a
days
work
of stress.
schedule conflict.
11 days away
Couldn't
from
get
home.
out of.
Yeah, they got him flying here and flying
That's
there.
promotion for him.
Yeah,
But does he get to be home for Christmas then?
I think he does.
Yeah,
I think he will be.
that's probably why he doesn't mind it now.
Well, 11 days is a long time.
Not if it's
Especially away
happy.
from your house.
Of course, when you're laying on the beach,
He's got all that
you know,
construction. We'll see if he comes back with a tan, I doubt it.
except when they sent him to Nicaragua last week or 2 weeks ago. Well, we don't need this. Finance update.
Okay. Fred, Diane, Jennifer?
Yeah,
Okay, that's good.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Committee of the Whole meeting in the Village of Walton Hills, Tuesday, December 9th, 2025 at 7:01 p.m. Next order of business, Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Nielsen?
Here.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Here.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Present. Mayor Colograph?
Councilman,
Yeah, I'd like to offer motion to excuse Councilman Brian Spitznagel due to work.
Second?
second. Councilman Nielsen, vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Also present is our fiscal officer, Nicole Sell, and our fiscal clerk, Melissa Sanders. Well, we have a long budget, a long agenda just because it's the budget, but one item. Any comments related to that? I think they'll probably be coming next, right? That's what we'll be doing, is commenting on the budget, so. I'd like to welcome anybody that's watching the live stream, residents or non-residents. Okay. All right, so we have item 5, which is our budget discussion for 2026. We have to, like every year, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can submit a budget by January 9th.
Correct.
So we do have to get this done. I know we've been going through it quite a bit. Nikki, do you want to update us kind of where we're, you've handed out quite a bit of things related to the budget as far as funds and stuff, anything you wanted to start and go through, and otherwise we can talk about some of the things me and Ray have talked about.
Sure, Mr.
and
Mayor.
council.
So I've given you a revised budget. There weren't a lot of big revisions as far as from the prior. I did increase our municipal income tax a bit. I calculated an estimate on what we'll be receiving from coroner in 2026. I included our RETA to date, and I also included any JED income that would be coming in. So that went up a little bit. I made some adjustments to the wages for the departments, including a 3% raise. Everyone had mentioned 3. I think originally I had 2.8. We can go back, we can discuss that. And those were the major changes for the general fund. It ends up with a deficit of $620,512. Today I just handed out a couple of additional budgets I worked out for the street fund 2011, for the state highway fund 2021, for the DROF TIF, and for the NPK TIF. And for the DROF and NPK TIF, basically the budget would be for the sidewalk next year. So that would be where all those expenditures are going. We're going to use whatever funds we get from the TIFs to use for the sidewalk.
You want to share a little bit, Nikki, about that you were expecting 3 payments for DROF versus 2 because we didn't get the one from last year. And if you know where it shows that, if you want to point that out.
Sure. So on the fund, it's DROF TIF FIC East. It's named 4903.
What page are you on, 3?
In the second packet, it would be on page 4. Last year, we only received one payment with our property taxes of $38,766. Apparently, they had paid a little bit late, so we did not get that distribution in 2025. So in 2026, we should get 3 payments of $38,766. $1,660 for the first half of 2026, second half of 2026, and for the latter half of '25.
So Nikki, so the line item, where is that particular line item, so we can look at it?
For the payment?
Yeah, you
Are
have
you
it.
in, are you in the second packet that I handed out?
Yeah, so you're on page 4 of 18?
No.
No,
There was like a second packet handed out that was
okay.
a couple of different funds. So on page 4 there, the line item 4903,830 would be the revenue. On the top right, it'll say fund name Droff TIF FIC East.
I think that's something we gotta look at.
Yeah, I'm still not,
Ray,
yeah, I don't have anything
Go
that
back
says.
2 more pages.
Okay, 4 of 4, okay. That one? No. Mine must be,
This is the Droff FIC.
mine might be
Yeah.
blank.
Mr. Whedon, do you have the short form? It's on there.
It's this one, right? This packet.
That
Yeah.
says financial
but-
worksheet,
Yeah, you're on, it's 1 of 2. It
Yeah.
will say 1 of 2 on the bottom.
but it's a little further back. Right.
This one?
Yeah, it's on
The
this
fund
one too,
names are at
but
the top right.
You got
so
the short
bring
version?
them. That's that. and
Okay.
there's the-
Okay, thank you.
You should have that.
Yeah, this one, yeah.
Yeah, it's right, so, makes it a little easier to find.
Yeah, it does. I'm flipping pages.
Mr. Mayor, for the street fund, Rob gives me that budget, the first page of that second packet, 2011. Rob gives me all the expenditures, and I apologize for the printing on these. This is what printed out from our system.
That's okay.
I didn't have time to
We can find it.
make it look pretty.
Yeah, short sheet too, a lot easier. Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
just a question for Nikki. Nikki, I'm looking at the NPK. Now, you took in, what, 9965 last, would have been last year? $9,965?
Correct.
Okay, and I see that we're looking at, that went up to 26,598?
Well, that was, we
That's
received
combined.
9,000. The prior year, we received 20,388.
Okay.
So that's the
Okay.
beginning balance in 2025 was 20,000 plus the 9.
On the NPK,
Well, yeah, 16, I'm sorry, not 20.
16,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, all right, got it.
Yep.
So that 9,000, and that brought it up to the 20, okay.
Correct. This is budget, yeah. I think he's looking at this number too, yeah. Down here.
Right.
So, yeah, it shows up a lot of places.
Yeah. Nikki, do you want to, or Ray, do you want to talk about, I know we got this, you got a note, a email from John, okay? I don't know if everybody has that, unless you guys wanted to, had any specific questions, and how that came about, there were some questions at the last COW meeting that Councilman Whedon presented and other council members presented. So Council President Whedon, myself, and Nikki have had some conversations the last couple of days, and we included John because we needed some clarification on spending money out of these funds. So that kind of references that. Nikki, I don't know if you want to talk to some of that. In other words, like maybe let's talk about the 2 cars. You talked about the 2 police cars, leasing them, and where we would get that. Did you?
I can start.
Yeah, go ahead, kind of just follow up so we can share everything that we have talked about. So council gets on the same page as what we've been talking about the last couple of days here.
Right, so we were discussing purchasing, or getting 2 vehicles for the police department. I did follow up and get the lease quotes. For 2 vehicles, the annual lease payment would be $22,372.83. We would also have additional amounts due for outfitting the police vehicle and for any decals, which would, the chief estimated to be approximately $25,000 per vehicle. So we were looking to see if any of the other funds we would be able to use to pay for that. And then back to John's letter, he looked into it. We had thought maybe the law enforcement trust fund would be applicable, but it is not. It says in his letter that basically it is the law enforcement trust fund. We must adopt an internal policy in order to use those funds. And basically they are to pay the cost of investigations, prosecutions, training, to education about the dangers of drugs, to reimburse the village for emergency action, to stop drug labs, and any other purpose determined appropriate, but basically it's all related to combating the use of drugs. Is what I understand.
Right, I understand the same thing.
Yeah, Mayor Colgrove?
Yes, go ahead.
And so regarding this letter from Mr. Montello, thank you, John. Yeah, when the discussion that we were having this afternoon was really, it wasn't just about outfitting the cars, but actually purchasing, whether or not we could actually purchase the car through that fund. So I hope that Mr. Montello can still take a deeper look, just kind of looking at the last sentence, or talking about actions to stop drug labs or any other purposes determined appropriate by the state related to the above stated uses. Well, police need cars to do whatever it is that they do. So, so even if it may not be able to be used for the outfitting, maybe, so still hopefully he can take a little deeper look. So for the rest of council, last week we had discussion around the operating only budget. And, and I mentioned, of course, versus a temporary, which would be a 3-month budget. And so the discussion that we had today was kind of like, okay, if we move toward a operating only budget, and we know we have these other needs, these other priorities, how do we get there? How do we get there? So that's how the discussion went toward looking at these other special funds. I don't know if that's the right term, custodial funds, special funds, restricted funds, whatever the correct term is, to see what the appropriate uses could be. See, perhaps, toward police car, toward other equipment and other projects. That's how that all came to be.
Now, we do have, but it's not, it's in the, it really, it doesn't really matter. It's in the general fund, that money we receive through mayor's court. That's earmarked for the police cars, that 15,000.
That is actually in the capital account.
Capital account.
Yeah, so there is an amount that's taken each month from the traffic tickets and the collections from those, which is earmarked safety vehicle. That amount of money has been being put into the capital account for forever. So typically it's about $15,000. So I think that we could earmark 15,000 of that for the capital account, that would pay for it. However, we still need to come up with the additional 7,000 and then the 50 to outfit.
Now, we are looking to see whether or not the mayor's court computer funds can be used for that. As you see, John's second, well, it's his last paragraph for the closing line there. He's talking about that, and we have, what, 70,000 in there, Nikki? Roughly. So he's gonna render an opinion on that. As you see, if they're linked somehow, or if he can give an opinion, that there's a possibility we could use those funds for those two computers, which is a large, that's 50,000, 25,000 each vehicle. So, tomorrow we're gonna see if we can get some more clarification on that.
Yes, Mayor, the amount is only 43,578
Okay.
there in the mayor's court, yeah.
But 43 almost covers it.
Yeah,
So
that brings it a heck of a lot closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This revised, was there any of that in there, Nikki? Any of this that we talked about, or the leasing of the two cars, did you put any of that in here?
That is not in any of the budgets yet. It depends on where we're gonna take those monies from.
Okay,
I haven't done the capital budget yet. I know there are a couple things, because we were pushing the operating, there are a couple things that we could approve through the capital that we are getting reimbursed for next year. So we have the sanitary sewer and the storm sewer. Those will be fully reimbursed. That's something we can put into our budget for capital, if council so chooses. There was county route maintenance. We talked today about that briefly. It's $150,000 and we are getting reimbursed 75. And again, we thought maybe we could use one of those other funds, either the motor vehicle license tax fund or, what was the other one? The street fund, to pay for that. Essentially it would be 75,000 at the end of the day. And we do have the funds in there to cover that. So if we can approve that with John, that would be something we could also put into the budget. That wouldn't have any effect on our general fund. So those were a couple of the items. In addition, the sidewalk, we would be using the TIF funds for. We are just short on our TIF funds, just about $20,000 or $21,000. And again, that's in John's letter about the motor vehicle being used, the motor vehicle tax fund being used to pay for that extra money that we don't have in our TIFs. And he says it is appropriate. So those are some things I can put together to move forward into 2026.
Mr. Mayor?
yeah, go ahead.
Nikki, how much do we have in the gasoline tax?
Let me grab that.
'Cause I'd like to know from John if that is something that we can use, and that's just my cursory going through the ordinance, for any equipment that Rob needs, because it speaks directly to maintaining the roads.
So there's the state highway fund, and we have $148,211 in there. And we also have the motor vehicle license tax fund, and we have $179,536 in there.
Okay, and do you know if the gasoline tax is stuck in with the motor vehicle?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Because that was, if you could find out from John about that. It's actually, here, I can give you this if you'd like. Section 5735.27, and it's the distribution of the amount credited of the gasoline excise tax fund.
Yeah, that's what he's referencing he's referencing that, Jennifer, in his letter.
Oh, yes, he is.
Ohio Revised Code, section 5735.27.
But like I said, it also, I don't know if that's something that would be helpful for anything that Rob needs, because it does state specifically in there for maintaining our roads.
How much are we using though for the sidewalk? Is that taking up a lot of that?
Initially, we'll be using 100, or for the sidewalk, we would need about $21,000.
Right.
And if we did another one of those funds, I'm not sure which one would be appropriate, I'd have to ask John.
Yeah.
We would use 150, but then get back 75,000.
Right. Okay. So I guess where we're at is, do we want to narrow it down to include some of those items, or do we want to go with your, more the operating budget? Or do we want Nikki to put some of those things in, or do you want to do a total capital, but we're kind of where we're maxing out where we can spend anyways? What do we want to narrow down, like, do we want to put the 2 police cars in there? We got to make, what do we say, 70-something thousand, right? We have to
Right.
come up with that. Looks like we're going to be able to use some of these other funds. Would that, and anything else? I mean,
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to
go
point
ahead,
out,
give your suggestions, Nick.
looking on the budget, page 1, our fund balance as of 11/30 is $1,716,000, a little bit over that. We're looking at a deficit of
620.
the 620. Sorry, I couldn't find the exact number.
Yeah.
So our ending balance at the end of the year, at the end of 2026, is going to be just over $1 million. So I just want everyone to keep that in mind. If we use the same budget in 2027, if you take $1 million minus 600,000, we have 400,000 in our general fund. So we just kind of have to watch real close, I think, and keep an eye on it. When you can only spend with the county what you have in that fund plus your expected income. Once you go over that, they don't approve your budget anymore. And that's when there's, so we just have to keep an eye very closely on what's coming in. I'm not saying more won't come in, but, I mean, we have another company coming in, that'll help. Rita oftentimes gives a refund for the costs that they charge us, depending on how their interest in their investments comes out. There will probably be some other money streaming in, but I'm looking, everybody is kind of asking a projection, and that without actually going through all of the numbers, just estimating based on what we're doing this year, 3 years will be negative if we don't have any additional funds. So we just have to kind of watch very closely.
Right. And we were Nikki was conservative on the draw. She used the same numbers as last year. We see the evaluation, as Matt Stu mentioned, probably going up, but we didn't want to guess. We wanted real numbers there. Nikki, if you had to take what we talked about with the operating, but maybe move forward with some things, let's say, we know we pushed the cars out. We're looking at leasing them. How do you feel like I'd like to kind of come up with something so we can kind of almost have unless you guys want to go, further into it, but I'll tell you where I'm at. I've talked to Nikki, I know I've talked to Ray and council here. Nikki just feels she'll have a better handle on it after the 9th, unfortunately, more like mid-January. But we have to submit a budget by the 9th. So putting an operating budget and maybe adding a few things as you mentioned, Ray, and the committee and the council before. Am I missing anything else?
No.
We talked about, what's your opinion on that, Nikki, about adding Are you still comfortable with, you know, that?
I'm comfortable with passing, if council wanted to include the items that we're being reimbursed for, and the items that we can use from other funds. For example, the pavement maintenance, if John would okay, yes, go ahead and do that through the motor vehicle or the street fund, then I would be comfortable passing that. I'm not comfortable pushing our general fund much further.
So,
Well, I was gonna wait for somebody else, but
Okay, go ahead.
I agree with that assessment, Nikki, that, you know, if we could do the basic operating plus some of those reimbursable funds, like one, we know there is a recreation department vehicle that, is reimbursed at some point in time. I think that's a good way to go. In addition to that, you know, some of these other items, you know, the police cars, if we can get them in there, that's fine, but if not, at least be able to show council, all of council, you know, on paper, like a roadmap of how we anticipate how we can get to these other projects, you know, police cars fund this, you know, that kind of thing. I think that would help us to have a better forward-looking picture into 2026, you know, knowing that down the line there will be some appropriation amendments, but we will have an idea what those are would be looking like,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
It does.
Mr. Mayor, or Nicole, so you're saying to add it to the 620 to put us at $1 million in debt? Is that what you're saying, to go ahead and show all those other expenditures? And
go ahead, Nikki. It won't put us, but go ahead, Nikki.
Mr. Mayor, no, because we would be using other funds to pay for those projects, and the ones that we're including that are reimbursed, those will be coming out of the capital fund. So that would be, we would pay from the capital and get reimbursed to the capital. We may have to advance some funds there to make those payments, but then once it's reimbursed, it would come back to the general fund.
It's for next year.
right,
that
we're
doesn't
looking
hit-
for,
Right, but that.
right, I
that-
understand this
year's-
is all next year, but it's, where would you put in the road project for Ryan and Kaylee? I mean, that's
That's
not totally reimbursable, that's still gonna put a couple $100,000 to the 6. So you're putting us at like at 8 or 9 at that point.
Ryan and Kaylee is something I think we need to discuss. I wouldn't feel comfortable, right, if you want me to put it in the budget, if you want to bring it up to $1 million deficit, that would be up to you. I know we do want to do it, I know we have to do it, but maybe we can talk to Matt, Stu, and he can give us some ideas on how to fund that, rather than taking it all out of our general fund.
But to turn in our operating budget, you're comfortable just putting a few more things in there, putting it maybe at 750? Or-
Particularly?
No.
I think the police vehicle makes a lot of sense. If we could
Mhm.
reduce the amount of money that we're spending on repairs and maintenance, the lease would make sense. The outfitting, I don't know if we would just have, I'm not sure how we'd pay for that unless we wanted to take it out of the general fund.
Okay, speaking of police, you have on there their overtime budget for 2026, you doubled it. If we're at full staff that he told us last week, how are we doubling the overtime for next year?
Well, if you look at the financial statements, on page, and the chief and I had discussed this.
Is that this one you're looking at?
Well, I was looking at this one, the 2026,
Can you tell us where you are, Nikki?
132,000.
I am on page 2 of 18. Towards the bottom of the page, middle to bottom, there are police enforcement salaries. Our current overtime is and this is through the end of November, is $123,772 that we've used for overtime. That might be another discussion. I do have, I estimated the cost of an additional police officer. Depending on where they fall in the benefits, it could cost us anywhere from $121,000 to $141,000 to add on an additional police officer. So that might be something for discussion coming up in the new year, but that's why the amounts went up so high. We're using the overtime.
Well, that, Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
was a necessity. We had throughout the year 3 officers that had to take extended amount of time off for rehab, medical reasons. So we had 1 in the spring, 1 in the late summer, and 1 right now. So, I mean, when an officer is up for a medical reason for 3 months, we've got to fill those hours.
I
It's
didn't
not
know-
a job.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No one said anything, so, okay, yeah, definitely, and I know there's training and everything else, so
Mhm.
there's, for the others.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you don't know when something like that's gonna happen. I mean, you know, next year we could end up with 4 officers throughout the year, or hopefully, please God, none, you know, that need to take extended time off.
Mr. Mayor, also, I'd like to just remind everybody, like, if there are any retirements coming up over the next few years, those are things we're gonna have to fund. So those are things we have to kind of keep in the back of our mind.
We did include 1 is in this budget.
Yet,
One.
I included
Oh,
the
you
other.
included 2? Oh, okay. I
Mhm.
thought last time we talked only 1.
The last time it was 1, now there was a second one that we added, that I added,
Okay,
possible.
which is possible, 'cause I haven't,
Mhm.
so if that, okay. Was that the retire rehire?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's a different
Yeah.
story. Okay, I was thinking another, okay, that makes perfect sense now. Okay.
Mayor Colograph,
Yes.
just one quick comment. Yes, 2026, it looks very daunting in terms of, what we already have on the table as a projected deficit, plus these other items. But at least for now, unless our engineer changes his long-term plan, the 2027 plan, won't be a repeat of 2026. There's about a $200,000 decrease, which is a good
Right.
thing. So it may keep us from that continual, adding to the deficit like you talked about.
Right.
As long as it stays the way it is now,
Mhm.
unless something else comes up.
We were hoping we were going to see some revenue from Great Day in early '26, but they're not in there yet. So, they did get their sign approved, which is, that they passed through zoning the other day, and they want to come to planning. So they're moving, they're going in, because there's, I forget what it was in signage. What was it, right, $200,000-300,000 in total signage for that project?
I don't remember.
But it was in hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
So it's not, like they're not coming,
Mhm.
because they're putting that, but it's just not coming as fast as we.
Mr.
Neat.
Mayor,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Tom did say that they have to be out of their other buildings by January, so whether it's the end of January, I don't know, but I know they're gonna be, I did see cars up there, they're starting
Right.
to make some moves, so.
I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
Sometimes they extend leases and
Right.
with
Month
where
to
they're
month.
at, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
But-
So Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
so Nikki is related to that company. Is there any income taxes projected from there in this budget, from that?
Not at this
Okay.
time.
All right.
So that will help.
Well, why don't we kind of, Nikki, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but why don't we kind of summarize it a little bit, what we would see kind of with adding, because we do have some of those numbers in front of us, kind of where Diane was at, like what will be our total deficit for the year, and go ahead, Jennifer.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I think the police cars for a lease for 22,000 instead of 44,000, we're going to be budgeting for 26. Only makes sense. And I'm hoping we can find somewhere, like just glancing through here, we still have, and I'm not blaming you, but under recreation, other professional technical services, 1,310, 349. We're budgeting 25,000. This year, we only used 10,005. You know, so it looks like we still, and the line right after that, professional technical services trips, we're budgeting 20,640, and this year we've only used 6,900.
Right.
I mean, so there's like excess sitting there that,
So, Mr. Mayor, so that
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
good, because that will increase our fund balance
Mhm.
ending the year. Once we close out POs, our fund balance will go up. So that will make a difference, but as the mayor said earlier, we won't know that till January where we end up,
right,
for sure.
right. But just seeing that those numbers are more inflated than what they need to be for 26.
Right,
You
and
know.
yeah, and maybe I mean, if you'd like, we can reduce those for all the numbers we came through with each department head.
Yeah. That, I mean, the one is 15,000 more, and the other one is almost 14,000 more,
Mm-hmm.
you know, than what was used.
Yep.
So I would be in favor of an operating budget and then see where we can shimmy everything up so we can get a couple of police vehicles, then we can put in, for me, that's what I would be comfortable with.
Want to kind of go through, can we kind of get an idea now, Nikki, or is that just to kind of give us an idea, or at least for next week, kind of know, so would we like to see the lease in there for the two vehicles? And I can agree with that. I know the reason we're doing it too, there is, because of the lead time with them, you know, and even if you don't receive them, we still have to account for it. So if the lease is 44,000 for the two vehicles, we gotta show that we have the 44,000 in the budget, even if we don't spend. That's the whole thing, which, you know, is so different than, you know, calculating it at your house, you know.
Right.
So do we wanna, Nikki, add those, or at least look at that? John's gonna get back to us with these funds. We know we're gonna be able to use some. Should we do the projects, put the projects in that we are gonna get funded, refunded by?
Makes sense to me.
Right.
Okay. You're good so far, Nikki?
Yep.
And,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, those projects, Nikki, we know 100% we're gonna get refunded in 26 for them?
I will double check with Joe.
Okay.
I have a meeting with him.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he has been really on the ball, As soon as that's done, as soon as we get the check back, he's looking for the reimbursement. And they've been pretty good this year about getting them back fairly quickly.
Okay, good.
So if we can continue that into
Right.
2020.
It's just things like South Meadow Park, we're probably not gonna get
Right.
in
Yeah,
this
that one,
year.
probably not, no.
You know,
So
so that's
that
why I don't
Just
wanna,
started
yeah,
today.
yeah.
So we still have requested reimbursements of about $100,000 that we will probably, if we don't receive them this year, we will receive them next year.
Okay.
So there's a lot of moving parts. It's not as dismal, but I do think we need to watch our general.
Oh, sure.
Mhm. Like we did this year,
Mm-hmm.
every
Yeah.
month, we have to.
We actually think we're gonna,
Mhm.
Nikki, Nikki, tell me if I'm I want to paint the picture, I want to be realistic here, but you actually feel we're probably going to end this year better than what we anticipated. Is that the feeling you're getting?
Well, if you look at the financial statements so
Mhm.
far, I think, did we project $1 million
I
deficit?
think it was like
Was it
700.
700
Yeah,
Close to
around
8,
7,
last
yeah,
year?
8.
So on the financials, basically, on the summary page, the general fund exceeded revenue, expenses exceeded revenue by $12,716.74. And the year-to-date at this point, for the general fund was $168,056.28. For all the funds, the year-to-date revenue has exceeded expenditures by $371,000. So we should end up, I'm hoping, in a better position.
Yeah.
Good.
But we won't know that for sure
Right.
until about, what would you say, mid-January? End of January?
We have to have our statements into the auditor by the end of February, but we should have, at least an estimated amount by mid-January, where we are. We'll start closing out purchase orders, finalizing anything that we need to finalize, and then, yes, we should be pretty close to a number then.
So I want to give some good direction, because I think we're all right there, pretty close to being there, and we can always have, 3 or 4 more meetings before January 9th, because everybody loves coming to this meeting, so. Which we would have if we thought something was gonna change, but I think we're pretty, we've been going through it quite a bit. So what else, Nikki? So we would do the projects, you'll do we'll figure the 2 vehicles.
Would we like to include the pavement maintenance, if we can get that paid out through one of the other funds, through the motor vehicle or license tax?
Mhm.
Okay, so I can check with John on that.
Yes.
And
And
the
that
other-
doesn't mean we're not going to address some of the other capital items. It's far from that. Just like we did last year, we will address them, because, Rob has some needs that we know we have to address. But we just kind of, just for the residents and for the department heads, no, we just want to really have a good handle like we did last year. But at the same time, we know understand there's some things that, like the cars that we need to make now, so they can move forward on them to
Get
the
it,
process going.
because it
Yeah,
takes such a long
Ordered.
time to get
yeah,
it.
because the lead
Right.
time, so.
Nikki, I don't have my paper with me, but how much have we gotten this year with the interest? I thought I had it here, but I do not.
1 second.
I was just curious.
You had it on here. this stuff.
I know it was on one of them, I don't know if I
It's
lost
on
that
the
sheet or.
journal,
Is
too,
it?
that helps.
Oh, here we go. So the interest so far through November is, oh, that's for the month, yeah.
Yeah. that was
Is
what you're-
$108,820 for 2025.
Good.
Thank you.
So hopefully it'll be 100 and, interest rates are going down, so maybe 118, 117 for the year.
So great, that's 100
Helps.
plus that we did not
Mhm.
have prior to you moving those, so
Yeah.
I'll give you full credit. You should get a
Well, thank you.
finder's fee.
Right? I'll take it.
Oh, yeah. We need those people in there. We need
Yes.
this great day in there.
The
We need a
payroll.
third building.
Mhm.
We need
But they're coming.
The
It's
growth,
great that
the
you're
village needs the
It's
growth.
very encouraging if you get zoning approval. We'll be having a planning commission meeting probably in January. I know it's not our regular month, but they're requesting that. They want to get that up there.
That might be another 100,000.
Yeah.
So it's,
Meeting tomorrow.
So Nikki, do you know what,
Mhm.
pretty much what we're looking for then? Do you have an idea what that would increase? Just, I know some of that's kind of hard to tell because we're looking at reimbursements.
Right. Not many of them will be coming out of the general fund. So they would all be capital projects. And like I said, if the fully reimbursed ones, we may have to advance the funds from the general until we get that reimbursement, but we can pay that back. So I'm not seeing any big increase in the general fund if we're able to do these projects. And most of them for next year would be included. The big one would be Ryan and Kaylee that we would have to find some funding for.
So we're gonna keep we originally figured the employees, Nikki figured at 2.8.
Mm-hmm.
Consumer price index, right, is that what you used?
Mm-hmm.
But then what she has in there now is 3. Are we going to leave that in there? Is everybody,
I'm comfortable with it.
okay?
Mhm.
And then I did have some other increases in some personnel that I talked to everybody about. We'll have that, more on that too. But that's minimal compared to some, but I'll share that with you. I might have an executive session too in the meeting, get us all on the same page. So there could be a motion for that, or will be a motion for that. And hopefully we'll have that. So we'll try to get it out to you sooner, and maybe even have some individual phone discussions and stuff as we go through it too. But it's really, I think, the only thing we're gonna have on the agenda for the council meeting would be the budget
Mhm.
and maybe a couple motions, and that would be it.
Sounds reasonable to me.
So we would have plenty of time too,
Yeah.
in that meeting, to go over everything too, at that time.
Has anybody typed in a question? Brian watching or anything?
No questions.
Brian's on the beach.
And I'm free.
He can
Now,
type.
Fred.
He can type. You never know.
See, Brian, it's nice to always have friends with you.
If Brian's working, his eyes need to be on work,
That's it.
not
Um,
not our meeting.
So just to kind of recap, we're gonna have John research these funds and a few other funds as Councilwoman Allen suggested. Nikki will look at those funds,
Mm-hmm.
see if we can get as much out of there that we're allowed to spend out of those funds. I'm hoping the mayor's court computer funds can be, we got 40,000 there, if we could use that for outfitting the police
Yeah.
cars,
That would be
that
nice.
would probably be a real
That'd be,
advantage.
that'd be.
I mean, when you read that, all that, John was saying he just has to confirm, but sometimes some of that stuff goes right to the clerk of courts.
Mhm.
A lot of that data entry is tied right
Mhm.
there. So there is some, but he just, unfortunately, he's got a medical condition, he couldn't make it tonight. And I appreciate this, because we didn't know at the time we were gonna get this from him, so. Just it gives us thing, and if he's gonna be home, it gives him something to work on. Nikki, anything else you or Melissa wanted to touch base on or anything?
Melissa's not looking up.
I don't know anything
After
else.
this, I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. If there's any more questions?
Well, just a comment, and we've already talked about this, just to kind of reiterate that moving forward with some of these capital items already in the budget at the start of the year, that helps not just the lead time on those vehicles, it also helps on getting the bids out. It also helps on perhaps getting the reimbursements back. So getting those items in there at the top of the year helps us to
Oh, sure.
move the agenda forward.
Go ahead.
No, no.
Okay. And as we go through, we'll look at all those items. We're certainly, just like last year, we did purchase some items for both police and service department and rec department. We approved appropriations for different things, and for roads, we're just gonna do the same thing. We've gotta continue to be very conservative and initially responsible, which we certainly are. We're trying to do the rest, but we also know that some things we have to spend the revenue on. We just have to at this time, you know. Police cars, you gotta have police on the road, we have to have the service, we have to pay our bills and stuff, but. So. I think our outlook's I think we're gonna have, I think the middle of January, end of January, you'll have a pretty good idea. I think we're gonna finish pretty well. Just have a, and I get that from you, Nikki. You know, appreciate you being very conservative and very cautious with what we do here, because you and Melissa, because we depend on that. So.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm just looking again at this Star Ohio, and I know you guys are gonna say she's going on and on about it, but I am as proud of you as I would be of my son, honest to God. For 23 in total interest, we got about $28,000. In 24, they made the change so that we were getting better interest rates. It didn't happen until June, but even with those first 5 months being at a much lower rate, last year we had over 89,000 in interest. And this year we have over almost 109,000, and that's not including December. So I just like want to, these guys did so great. I really do, because I know. And it just shows your consciousness with the job, you know, and that you care and that you found that. So thank you.
I agree, they're doing a great job. And
Thank you,
with a
Mayor.
conservative effort from all the department heads
You
and
better be
everybody keeping a close eye on their budget. We're in better shape. Doesn't sound that way, but we are. Because we're still doing things. We're still maintaining our services, we're still improving our roads, and we're improving our infrastructure. So,
Yeah, Mr. Mayor?
still gonna be, we're still a great community.
I do appreciate Nicole and Melissa doing all this paperwork for us. I know it's got to be overwhelming to make sure we all have it in front of us, but we do need it. I mean, when we want to look at this stuff and need to see where can we cut, where do we need to increase? I mean, this is really, I know it's a lot of work on you girls, but it is appreciated. It's not unnoticed.
Well, you're welcome. You have to do that to make the decisions you make. You need to know.
There's a lot of line items, isn't there? There's a lot of line items.
Yes.
There is.
There's a lot of line items, a lot of funds.
Gotta make sure you have the overhead lights on so you can read them all.
I know, I wish I could get it bigger, but I could make more pages and turn it sideways.
Oh, no, that's okay, because we wouldn't be able to sit here. Look at how many pages we all have.
Now you make a mess.
I know in your mailboxes, you should have got something from Suzanne mentioning
Yes.
some of the things we talked about before with, you did get the information from capital recovery and the Attorney General. So we'll talk about that in January too. We'll see what happens there, because we do spend money there and we should be able to recoup it. You know, I mean, our officers put a lot of time in there when they do make an arrest and they have to go to the court and be there, so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just reading through that stuff and all of the notes that Suzanne had made, for what it's worth, capital recovery sounds to me to be the simplest, as opposed to the Attorney General with all of the restrictions that they can put on people paying for their citations here and stuff like that,
Right.
and how many notices that they will send out, as well as a skip trace to locate them and stuff too, and one-way text notices. That-
And then if we do decide to move forward on it, it doesn't mean we're locked in forever. That's the other thing we have to talk about, is what is the length of the contract and what is the exit clause in there. Because if we aren't happy,
Mhm.
then we could always change. Vicki, anything else you want to add about the budget, or Melissa? Or any of the financial sheets that you distributed to us today?
I have nothing else.
So you think the reader collections should end up more than what we budgeted for last year?
Yes,
Okay.
they actually are already more than we had last year
Okay,
with November,
good.
so that's good.
Any other questions for Vicki or Melissa? Or any questions in general for our next meeting, or?
Well, Mayor Colagard,
Go ahead.
just one
Yeah.
follow-up to the memo from our law director, Mr. Montello,
Oh, okay.
and that's regarding the Ohio Revised Code, and outlines that how the trust can be used, but the village must adopt an internal policy, addresses the use of those monies to pay costs. Would John kind of would be the one to kind of help us in adopting that internal policy if that needs to be done?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I'll make a note there, and I can ask him that. We'll ask him that tomorrow.
And would that policy also have to be adopted in the form of an ordinance or legislation? That would be the other question. Is it just a policy, or do we have to adopt it?
Who would adopt this, and who would write it?
Yeah. And then, Mayor, the other question is does that apply, does that same policy piece apply to any of the other funds?
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Does anybody know what the weather forecast is for Saturday? here there's a
Cold.
cold,
Snow.
here there's a
Cool.
special visitor.
Snowy, just like Santa, like
Oh, like Santa likes it.
the real Santa.
Yes.
The North Pole Santa. I guess it's gonna be, I didn't even, what's I said?
I saw
Oh,
cold and
maybe
snow.
some snow, yeah.
Mhm.
That's better than rain. That one year when it rained, it was
Well,
miserable, because you get, you know, nothing like being wet. Wet and sweaty's the worst, you get a chill so quick.
it was like in the 40s, so it was like warm and it was sweating.
I talked to, well, yesterday, just kind of going over some of the stuff with Natalie too, and talking to her. Yesterday, of course, they had the sign up for it. Last year, we had 48. The year before, we were closer to 60. They had 56 sign up yesterday. So we're kind of in the middle. So we got a pretty busy day.
56 stops or?
56 stops,
Wow.
yep. Last year, we had 48.
That's good.
So. It's easy for you to say.
That's a lot of getting on and off, on and off, yeah.
It's amazing how the kids do all the work and Santa just sits back and it just
Yeah.
takes it easy. And
I thought the tree lighting went real nice. Thought the juggler was good. It's
Yes.
getting kind of long, but it was good. He did a nice job. That was kind of fun and stuff. And
It was very nice. And
yeah, it was.
thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the
Well-
Service Department, the Rec Department. They all coordinated getting all the decorations up, and it was very nice. And they have pizza and cookies, and
That was nice
It was-
to go back to.
instead of the
Stuff like
food truck.
that, yeah.
Yes,
That
it was
was-
definitely a wonderful time, very
Yeah, it was
holiday.
nice.
You know, it was just.
We have Buddy the
everybody-
Elf.
And Buddy the Elf was there, yes. And, yeah, when I watched that juggler, it was amazing to see. Even when I was his age, there's no way I could do any of that. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
talk about hand-eye
really something.
coordination. Gosh.
Yes,
And balance.
yes.
Yeah, when he got up on that,
Mhm.
no, I thought it was real nice too, and I don't think everybody did a fantastic job. And I know the volunteers that helped us too. Ruth and Kay has always helped too, and you know, without people
Thank you,
helping, it
ladies.
wouldn't be the same either. So it was really nice. At first, I was like, oh my gosh, there's not many people here, but then a lot more people
Yeah.
came. And
Amen.
it always looks like that because it's so spread out, because kids are doing crafts and they're in the room.
Mhm.
But what I thought was kind of nice, that with the change up of where the Santa was, it seemed like Santa walked around a little bit, and so more people got pictures, like just,
More pictures.
yeah,
yes.
like maybe they were just standing up and he put his arm around somebody and automatically get some pictures, you know, instead of all the stage pictures, which was kind of nice. I thought.
I had a lot of compliments that it was on a Saturday.
Oh,
and
did you,
not-
did you
yeah,
guys
and
like
not on a-
Saturday?
Really?
I got,
That's
nice.
Yeah,
people
no,
said they
that's-
liked
that's
it because
Wow.
doing it on a Sunday evening, then the kids would have to go to school the next day, and, you know, that's why a lot of the grandparents said they don't usually go. So they liked Saturday.
Mhm. Good.
Okay. Well, still got some work to do, all of us. We'll put a bit of work, hopefully we'll be able to get it wrapped up. And Nikki, you and Melissa got the most work, but get it wrapped up next Tuesday. But if we can't, if we don't, we'll get it done before the 9th. I don't want anybody to think we're just push it through to push it through. We certainly don't do that. We certainly vet everything, and if it's not right, then we will have another meeting, or we'll stay longer.
Yeah.
But
Mayor Colgraf,
I'm
just a
confident we'll get it done.
question for you and for Nikki. In case it's not done next week on the, whatever that date is, 18th,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
7th, 16th, 17th, whatever it is.
What's the
Today is the 9th, 16th.
16th?
In case it's not done by the 16th and we don't have a special meeting, and we roll into January, our first meeting in January is January 6th.
Correct.
Does that allow enough time to get paperwork to the county?
Yeah, we can get the paperwork to the county, but let me check that that's an okay to roll it into January. I'm not
Well,
sure.
Mayor used to.
It's
Mayor
due to
was
the
using-
county by the 9th,
Okay,
but I'm not sure if it has to be adopted by December 31st.
okay, got it.
That's the
I think
point.
that's, yeah.
John would know
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually on my cover, but, so I can give you that answer after.
So the goal is the 16th or special?
Right.
Okay, got it,
The goal is to get it done by the 31st, actually.
31st.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the
That would be-
25th, nobody's doing anything.
Yeah. The mayor don't vote.
I knew that was, I knew
So I won't be.
That's
I knew that was
quick
coming.
thinking on that one.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I don't want to miss Christmas, none of us do. We want to be home, all of us, with our families. That's for sure. That's where we all deserve to be. So, but I think we're very close. Appreciate everybody really continuing to take a good look at it. We all appreciate Melissa and Nikki, really crunching the numbers and stuff in the department heads, so let's see what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else? Anything from any residents? Anybody watching? Okay. All right, well, we'll be back here next Tuesday, 7 o'clock.
Oh,
No,
don't we have an
Yeah.
information meeting at 6?
Information meeting, Brian wanted to have an information meeting at 6.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, information meeting at 6, and then,
I assume that he still does,
okay.
Yeah.
It's- Yeah, it's posted
Okay.
Okay.
publicly, it's
Well,
posted
Okay,
publicly.
then he'll be back and,
Yeah,
Okay. Well, we'd just like to make there will be an information committee meeting, 6 o'clock on Tuesday, the 16th, correct? No,
Yeah, 16
16th,
at 6 o'clock.
followed by our council meeting at 7, so. Okay. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adjournment.
Is there a second?
Second,
Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
yes. I was waiting for you to say Councilman Spitznagle, but
Meeting adjourned at 8:09. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hope to see everybody Santa delivery.
Saturday.
Sam?
Are you coming